It's outrageous what Mylan has done. I believe that this is pure greed.
This is disgusting.
That was Dr. Devi and Jeff Lederer. Jeff Lederer is the father of an EpiPen user whose son will die if he gets a bee sting and he doesn't have an EpiPen. And Dr. Devi is absolutely furious about Mylan's price increase, which she's called outrageous and disgusting, on its EpiPen product that millions of Americans need. My social media pages were on fire yesterday with so many tweets and posts reacting to this story. Jonathan Lee tweeted, "Wife just bought 2 from Canada. $125. The American system, which, by the way, is up to $700 for 2, is a scam." Roxanne Stage wrote, "Profits over people, morally wrong." Here's Briggs Cheney asking, "Isn't that what the Federal Trade Commission is for, to watch over unfair trade practices? Why aren't they involved now?" But Morgan McLeod brought up this point. Businesses have a right to price goods and maximize profit. Without profit, businesses go away. We're not done by a long shot here. Follow me, @LizClayman on Twitter. Let me know what you think. And by the way, look at this. Just as I finished the story yesterday, 2 of my floor crew walked up to me and said, "We have EpiPens. Some of them are expired because they expire too quickly and they're too expensive." Now, we were far from the only ones questioning the price in EpiPens, the price hike. Now members of Congress are getting involved. In the last 24 hours, Republican Senator from Iowa, Charles Grassley, who leads the Judiciary Committee, sent a letter to Mylan CEO Heather Bresch demanding an explanation for the price increase, while Democratic Senator Amy Klobuchar from Minnesota called for a Judiciary Committee doing what one of my Twitter followers demanded, asking for an investigation by the FTC. How is this price increase on the life-saving device hurting those who need it most? Joining me now in a Fox Business exclusive is the woman known as the Erin Brockovich of food and food allergies, the Kids Foundation, Robyn OBrien. And Robyn, I want to give you credit here. More than a year ago, you were among the first to scream and yell and wave your arms saying, "Why has the price of an EpiPen suddenly skyrocketed?" What answer do you have right now?
You know, lives are at risk. Right now, someone goes to the emergency room once every 3 minutes for a food allergic reaction. The number of people in the United States with food allergies is skyrocketing. From 1997 until 2010, there was over a quadrupling of the number of people with the peanut allergy. So suddenly we have this epidemic. And the price has been kicked up 6 times in the last 6 years on a product that was first invented in 1977. So, you know, you have the marketing of fear, you have a captured demographic, you have an exploding epidemic, and you have a company that's taking advantage of that. And to have parents suddenly reaching out saying, "You know what, Robyn, I can't afford the EpiPen anymore." To have school nurses reaching out and say, "Robyn, you've got to help us. We have these non-compliant kids in the classroom whose parents can't afford the EpiPen. Lives are at risk."
Okay. Have you tried to speak to Mylan? You represent so many parents and so many children who could die without it. Any result, any luck here?
You know, they have really kind of put up some walls, and they said, you know, we're doing a good thing. We're handing out EpiPens to schools.
And raising prices by 400%?
And they'll claim that they're handing out these gifts to schools in the form of an EpiPen. But if you think about it, that's like an abusive spouse who's turning around and handing somebody jewelry after the abuse. This is abusive pricing. This is abusive pricing. We have parents who can no longer afford a life-saving device for their children.
Okay.
And when I look at my daughter, I look at my nephew.
Go ahead.
You know, I think what we are seeing right now, the 2 fastest ways to fix this are a congressional investigation, which is going to get a little tricky because Mylan's CEO has a dad in the Senate, the senator from West Virginia, and then you've got that congressional investigation going on, which is super important because, you know, what studies were done on the price elasticity of the EpiPen? How did they justify this price increase? What are the media buys that are going on around this? You know, there are a lot of questions into the business model here, and I think the congressional investigation is one way to do that. I think the second thing that we're seeing, and you guys had a major impact on this yesterday with your show, is you saw that share price get knocked down today 4%. Not only did we see the share price get knocked down, but we also saw volume shoot up. Their average volume is 4.4 million. Today it was at about 7.5 million. So you guys did a phenomenal job of shining a light on this issue, and it is a life-threatening issue.
Well, I was It caught my eye, obviously, and again, we're actually late. You were the early one. For a year, you have been writing op-eds on your website. You have been saying, this is incredible, this is unfair, this is unacceptable. And by the way, folks, capitalism lives here at Fox Business. We love businesses. We don't think government should be involved in setting prices in any way, shape, or form. However, this is a case where they have, as best we can figure out, but I wouldn't know because Heather Bresch, the CEO, nor Mylan have returned my calls or my booker, Alicia Cascardi's calls, over and over again. But they have not put in research and development dollars into this. Oh, they've marketed it, but they have a virtual lock on this. So what is going to work here? Robyn, is it going to be that we need Congress to get involved? And it is problematic because the CEO's father is Senator Joe Manchin, West Virginia.
You know, I definitely think Congress needs to get involved. There needs to be an investigation here. You know, as you mentioned earlier, there is no competition. They have a monopoly. The barriers to entry are really high. And right now there's a low-cost alternative trying to work its way through the FDA.
That's Sanofi,
I've been in this fight for 11 years. Yeah, I've been in this for 11 years, and I've seen Twinject come and go. We saw Auvi-Q come and go. Auvi-Q was recalled because of 26 unconfirmed reports. There needs to be an investigation into how this company has been able to maintain this monopoly that it has. And yes, these are life-saving devices, but they can come in a lot of different forms, and a healthy marketplace means healthy competition.
I don't know if we can go back to the two-day chart, but it was right after about 3 p.m. Eastern when we did the story. You know, we decided to lead the broadcast with it. That's today, and here's you can see it dipping right at around 3 p.m. Eastern. And I'm not sitting here saying we're taking credit for it, but when we had Jeff Lederer, that father, and by the way, he's a Wall Street guy. He understands profits. He understands that companies have a right to actually profit when they have a mode of competitiveness around a great product. 15 million people need this thing, okay? That's 2 kids in every classroom in America. And so we get it, Robyn. If you had Heather Bresch in front of you right now, the CEO, what would you say to her?
I would say you've built your business model on the backs of American children. And it's time to take ownership for that, especially when a family in the United States can travel to Canada and get the same pack for $120 that they pay over $700 for here. At the same time, she orchestrated this tax inversion by taking the company's headquarters out of the United States. So they have built a business model on the backs of our kids, moving the headquarters to the Netherlands to avoid paying taxes into the United States. And as her own father said, something like that should be illegal. And I think it's time for her to come on this show and answer your questions, Liz, because you have every single right to ask them, and millions of American families behind you.
Heather Bresch is always invited on this show. We would very much like to hear from our viewers, our investor audience, and you, Robyn. Thank you very much for the good work you're doing. Robyn OBrien.
Thanks, Liz.
Allergy Kids Foundation founder. Go on the website, Allergy Kids Foundation. And it's an important issue for a lot of people because, you know what, it is straining the emergency rooms. You heard every 3 minutes somebody's going with a food allergic reaction.